Peace, Oakland. What's up? This is your boy Seneca Scott, host of Gotham, Oakland, and welcome back. This is your Wednesday episode on a Tuesday. What is today? I'm sorry, your Friday episode. And today we are having a very special guest, LeAna Powell. If you remember, 2 years ago, LeAna blew the whistle on Sheng Thao campaigning on city time, as well as her staff. But the real complaint was that she was forced to campaign, and when she refused to do what she knew was illegal, she was fired for basically standing up for Oakland and refusing to politically campaign on city time. This public ethics case was open in 2022. The then public ethics investigator Simon Russell, told us that it was urgent. At the time, I was serving as Mrs. Powell's advocate. He told us that it was extremely urgent that we turn over our documents, proving that this happened. We did so, and now, nearly 3 years later, there has been no resolution to Mrs. Powell's case. So we're going to have her here to talk about it and what I believe are the media failures to present anything that puts progressives in a negative light. And so I'm going to, no further ado, we're going to review some articles together. But LeAna, welcome to the program.
Hello.
So we're going to try to laugh today because it is a comedy show. We ain't been too funny lately.
Please, I don't need any more stress in my life.
There ain't much to laugh about, but
Who is
hello,
that?
LeAna. Hello, LeAna. How you been, girl?
Who is
I
that?
was the mayor for a whole fucking year. A whole year I was the mayor.
Oh my God.
Are you mad at me? Please forgive me, LeAna. Please forgive me. I beg you. I beg you. I beg you.
She wouldn't say that.
She wouldn't say that because she's too proud to beg. But maybe that 95 years she's facing in prison for breaking the law will humble her. I think it will humble anyone. And you know what? Like I've said this in previous episodes, I actually do pray for her and her family because she don't need it. You should pray for your enemies. So I want to share something with you. And did you see this today?
No.
Thousands of Oakland documents seized by the feds reveal inner workings of ex-mayor Sheng Thao's orbit. Newly released records shed light on events leading to bombshell corruption scandal. So if you recall, that whole corruption scandal involved actions that were taken both right before and right after the mayor was elected. And the FBI asked for all types of information, including, again, stuff that was before and after elected. Now, if you go through this, there's some parts that tipped me off here that made me think about you today.
Okay.
And
I haven't seen this, so please tell me.
well, I'm going to go down to the part where it talks about how they got to work right before they were still okay. So this one talks about the conspiracy um, with Mario Juarez and Andy Duong for the Oakland Army base. And they go back to, I'm just scrolling through so you can kind of read it. They go back to this right when she got elected. So this is right when she was elected. And it says, does he need a title? The documents detail Andre Jones. Now remember, Andre was around a lot, wasn't he?
Yeah, make it a little bigger.
Oh, I don't know how to do that in my.
Okay.
You know what? No, I can. Does that help a little bit?
No, but that's
You're on your
okay.
phone. So it says here, I'll read it. Does he need a title? There's a picture of Andre. The documents also detail Jones' close involvement with Tao's work as an elected leader. Even as Jones was alleged to have been receiving thousands of dollars for a no-show job from a Duong family, according to the federal indictment, He also appeared to have sway on Tao's work as mayor. A couple of weeks before Tao was sworn in, one of Tao's trusted advisors, Brandon Harami, referred to Jones as among my team members in a citywide email. That same day, Jones was included in the meeting for Tao's campaign, the records show. Over the ensuing 18 months, he appeared at her side in most high profile trips. Let me go back to, I can scroll down. And it starts to talk about the Vietnam trip, and it goes up when it talks about Leah Hansen as well. Now, why this made me think about you was a lot of these emails also go back to the time when you were working for the future mayor of Oakland, Sheng Thao. And so the first question I want to ask is, how are you? Because I know you've had a pretty hard 2 years. So just give Oakland a check-in for people who've been following the story. Give us, 2-minute rundown on how your life is right now. What's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we can move forward with the conversation.
Well, um, I'm alive. I'm still here. Um, I'm still here. I think the last time I spoke to you, I didn't have any hair. I got hair growing
It
again.
looks nice. It's going back. You mean
Um,
you didn't do a big chop just for no reason?
no, I was diagnosed with breast cancer a couple years after working with Shane Tao. Diagnosed with breast cancer. So I fought breast cancer all of 2024. Um, Chemo, surgery, reconstruction, radiation, the whole nine. I actually just completed radiation December 28th of 2024. So I am just now, it's April, but I'm just now, recovering and getting my life back on track, or at least trying to. It's just funny that, I went through an entire year of cancer treatment, yet still haven't got you know, still haven't gotten completion or case closed on the public ethics investigation that I filed in 2022.
Well,
Um,
let's talk about that. Let's talk
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Thank you for segueing right on in. So it's been nearly 3 years. Can you tell people why you blew the whistle in the first place? What was going on that made you feel like? Well, first they terminated you, and with this, at that point, how did you feel? You were fired. What did they tell you?
Yeah. So I was super excited to get the job. Public service is my thing. I love to work in the community. So I was excited for the job. I was excited to learn and work alongside of our elected officials and serve the community that I'm a part of, first and foremost. But very early in my time there, I just noticed that things were not as they seem and they weren't right. Ultimately, I was fired by Rania Webb, Sheng Tao's chief of staff, and she told me that I wasn't a good fit. This is only a week after I told her, she wanted me to work on her campaign, and I didn't have capacity to do that in that time. I was still learning my job as a City of Oakland council staff. And when I told her I couldn't do that, I could not, do double work and just, you know what I mean? I couldn't do it. I was fired directly after that by her chief of staff, and her chief of staff can only let someone go if she is okay with it. And they literally told me I wasn't a good fit when I was the only person working on the city hall stuff. Everyone else in her staff was working on her campaign, including herself. They worked on her campaign endlessly, and I would work on City of Oakland stuff by myself while I was in the training portion of the first 90 days.
Now, you did an extensive interview with local journalist Sidney Abraham,
Hmm.
and I'll be referring to some articles about
Okay.
that interview shortly. Because for those of you watching, here's what we're going to do: we're going to do a blast from the past. And the purpose of this show is to show you how asleep at the wheel, or maybe they're just working against Oaklanders. But our media has failed to cover this case, and when things come out that not only that this has been the longest, I believe, active open public ethics investigation in the city of Oakland, and hopefully we finally get some resolution soon. There's been lots of lies told about you by people who work for the city, and even people in the media who have just been, really squirrely. So I'm going to point to the first exhibit. It's just to give people a little, and I know you can't see this, so I'll read it for you, and you can watch it on the big screen a little later. There's a picture of our former mayor, and it says ethics violations levied in Oakland mayoral race. Filing a false complaint carries a lot of baggage. It makes political sense, but not practical sense. That's the byline.
Yeah.
Can you believe that crap? Right
I,
off the bat, they're trying to say this, what you're saying is a false allegation.
yeah, I mean, I'd be looking at who wrote this and who got paid for it. And now,
Well,
what we
let's see who
know.
wrote for it. An Evan Simone. So I don't know who that is,
But where
or
would
what.
she get that information if the case is still being investigated? For one, she never talked to me.
Well, actually, you know what? I know this reporter. Wow, this reporter actually doing better work. So they didn't talk to you. They probably just looked at the Oakland side, which I'm going to get to next.
Well,
But
Brandon Harami was in charge of press releases when I was a staff person to the city council aide. So Brandon would often craft stories for the media and send them out, So I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon did not send this to this person, Brandon Harami, that is.
well, I'm going to read this because here's why I'm going to read this carefully so people understand what's happening here. First of all, again, as we've said 3 times now, LeAna's complaint is still open.
It's
3
still an
years.
open and active investigation.
An active
I've
investigation.
outlasted a lot of the investigators.
Yeah, including Simon Russell,
And I almost died.
who left in 2024, right before Sheng Thao was recalled in September, late September. He left, and what he said was his resignation is due partly in the city's refusal to give his team more resources for staffing, even though he warned them about the staffing crisis. And he also says he's investigated city officials for violations including conflict of interest and bribery. They also investigated a group attempting to recall Sheng Thao, which led to nothing, which was dropped. I think Simon Russell's dirty, and he left before the hammer came down because he realized he was no longer going to be able to be protected from the mayor because he's set on your investigation for quite some time. But let me get back to the previous tab, so I'm going to read this. Before I get into this, I want to just give one quick update. Now, when I met LeAna campaigning for mayor, and I think it was Arroyo Grande Park.
Yeah.
And she came because I had advertised that I was going to be in District 6. And she wanted to speak to someone because this was literally mere weeks after she was unjustly terminated for blowing and then blew the whistle. And me, running an active campaign, of course, I'm going to use it against my opponent. Of course, with the consent of LeAna. I didn't do anything, without anyone's consent. And I was very deliberate that what I was going to be doing. And I put it out there in June. I said, you better watch this case. Later, Darwin tried to call it an October surprise. And I had to check him. But we're going to get to that in a minute. Let me get back and read this. I don't want to jump the gun. Let me get back to the... So, according to the verbal complaint, former Tile staffer LeAna Powell said she had been hired in April and was told to volunteer for Kyle's upcoming campaign was not required and that she should stay with her council duties. However, when Powell turned down volunteering for the campaign, things quickly turned, and in June she was fired. Powell alleges that it was directly because of her refusing to volunteer on Kyle's mayoral campaign. She got rid of me fast because I refused to do the extra work on her campaign. A city law prohibits city workers from campaigning for a candidate or ballot measure while on the clock for the city. Such a major violation would many negative effects, if it's true, on a city level. In addition, should she win, Tyler will have a major ethics violation hanging over her head before even being sworn in, something potentially disastrous for a new mayor. In a written statement, Tile and her campaign vehemently rejected Powell's allegations. According to them, Powell had actually expressed interest in the campaigning and was told that she could, but only after hours on her own time. They also maintained that Powell's fire in June had nothing to do with her refusing to volunteer, and it was because she had reached the end of her 90-day trial period and was found not to have been doing her council staffing duties. And they go on to talk about it. Despite Tyler's insistence otherwise, Oakland Public Ethics Commission Enforcement Officer Simon Russell confirmed that an investigation is now currently ongoing, investigating whether Tyler may have used one of members of city council to work or volunteer for her mayoral campaign during the regular work hours as a city employee, and whether Tyler may have induced or coerced city council staff to work in her campaign as a condition of her employment. As of Monday, there is no current timeline for the commission. It can impose fines and penalties on Tyler if accusations are found to be true. Now, and it goes on to say that this is gamemanship or some other stuff. Now, here's the thing. LeAna Webb, who terminated you, tried to take credit for your whistleblowing activities. She's
I'm
basically
not
said that
surprised.
she said it was true, right? Didn't she say that? Didn't LeAna corroborate that they were campaigning on city time?
She said she led the efforts on the campaign. She told on herself. She
And
said she led her campaign, and she did,
we
along with the
also
rest of the staff.
we also busted Brandon Harami's burner, gay inspector, which was immediately taken down the moment we busted it. You remember that? Which we had thousands of tweets that were made on City Time directly about the Oakland election.
Brandon harassed me. Oh my God.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Oh my gosh. I it got to a point where I had to turn off everything because he was nonstop. Like that was his full-time job. And there's no doubt in my mind that Sheng Thao and the rest of the staff and I would say including Rania, she never really attacked me on social media, but it was in person at public events. It was via text. It was she showed up to my, it was a lot. But Brandon on social media, on Twitter, it was like it was his personal vendetta to like destroy me, and it almost did.
So you're saying that Brandon Harami harassed you online?
Oh my God, yes. And I'm not the only person he harassed, but in that time, he harassed me nonstop. I don't even know how he had time to spend so much time harassing me and
So
working
then that
on
means on city during city work hours you were being
during
harassed.
city
So
work hours, doing, yes.
did you think that Brandon Harami talks to Oakland side or has ties to the Oakland side?
Brendan Harami, Sheng Thao, Brendan Harami is her right hand. I remember a conversation one day when we walked to get coffee from the city hall, and I remember her saying, "That's why I need you. That's why I brought you over here from San Francisco with me, because I need you to be my guard dog. I need you to, handle all of the people that are coming after me." And so I believe she very much sicked him on me, or knew, or at least was aware of what he was doing and okay with it, because Chantal runs a very tight ship. She really does. She is calling the shots in her her staff, and she's not at all passive or quiet at all. She knows exactly what's going on, and if she doesn't agree with it, she will smash you, you know,
Mm.
right then and there.
So one thing I should update people. I think I forgot to say this. When I was helping represent in the early days of this as an advocate for LeAna, I had a conversation with Simon Russell, and I asked Simon, Would it be a smoking gun if we could show that Sheng Thao's campaign manager, Julie Kasky, was in not one, but two hiring meetings when LeAna was hired? Now, when you were being hired in the Zoom meetings, was her campaign manager present in those meetings?
Yes, it was. They were actually at the campaign manager's house when they interviewed me. They were in her backyard. It was Renia Webb, Shane Tao, Julie Kasky, and Brandon Harami.
And did Julie ask you any questions, or was she just a bystander?
They all asked questions. They all were a part of the interview. It was a panel interview, and they all
So there
had
were
to
there were
pretty much.
times when she engaged with you and asked you
Yes,
questions.
they all had to engage me in that interview and, basically give their feedback on if I was a good fit. And in that very interview, I was told right then on that day that I was hired because everybody in that meeting agreed that, they wanted me on the team.
So when I asked Simon if her campaign manager, who was not a City of Oakland employee, was a part of hiring City of Oakland employees, would that be considered a smoking gun? And that Tao indeed would be guilty of using city time and resources illegally to campaign? And the answer that I got was yes.
Yeah,
We we
absolutely.
we proved that 3 years ago. Why are we still having an open investigation? I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but what I want to look at right now is the article on November 1st. Darwin put out an article. Byron Bangwam is the lead editor and top writer with the Oakland side. And he released a video um, basically misconduct charges against Sheng Thao amplified by a blogger paid by an opponent. And this Zinni Abraham released a video with former staffers' allegation. He didn't mention work for another mayoral candidate in the coal terminal plant they support. What does coal or Zinni have to do with? So they're trying to basically muddy the waters with this article. And he posted the interview with Zinni right here, the hour-long interview.
Hey, everybody. Hey, first of all, folks, thanks for joining me just about an hour ago when I
Remember
was
that
on to
infamous
talk
interview?
about.
And they referenced it. And they made it about Zinni and coal and little about you, right? Zinni's paid work for West Oakland coal terminals, including Tao's opponent. And then, of course, they try to say that it's an October surprise, but then they link my June 29th article. This is the post. If you knew since June 29th, why didn't you say anything about it then, Darwin? You obviously knew. They did know. They didn't want to say anything. And so they want the topic of public discussion. So anyway, here's what's interesting. The very next day, so I complained to Oakland side as well as many others. And the very next day, there's another article. You have to write back-to-back articles on back-to-back days about the exact same story. It's so sloppy and disingenuous. This one's title says City's investigation of alleged misconduct by Sheng Thao started in June, not October.
Absolutely.
Okay, after I complained, now you see, because I was like, hey, this is June right here, dumbasses. LeAna Powell complained to Public Ethics Commission on June 20th, and then they actually tell most of the real story. Although election observers are calling it an October surprise, the bomb intentionally dropped in the final stretch. No, we were trying to tell people back then, if you were doing your job, you would have covered it when it was happening. And this is what I want to talk about from your words. How did you feel about Oakland side? And one more thing to share. I'm not going to share the actual screenshot because at the request of Mrs. Powell and LeAna. I don't know which one to call you. LeAna, Mrs. Powell, what is it?
Call me LeAna.
Thank you, LeAna. And so, but Darwin Bangram was trying to get you in an interview, and he sent you a threatening email, not physically threatening, but he threatened to release information about your past that you did not want released and that had nothing to do with this current situation. How did that make you feel? And just take a minute to rant about the media ignored you, they attack you, And now it's clear Sheng Thao was corrupt. She's been facing 95 years. The corruption started when she was running for office. Everything you've said all along has been vindicated, but the media has yet to circle back around. The City of Oakland has not brought any resolution to your public ethics department. The floor is yours for as long as you want it to just tell the people how this makes you feel. Start with the media and then move on to the City of Oakland, because I want to hear this. I've been telling you all day, hold on, don't tell me. Wait for the show. But now we're here. Please tell the people what's really going on.
Whew, this brings up a lot of emotions. For one, I'm a journalist myself. I I used to write for Oakland Voices, and that group was set up to diversify media. And I know now more than ever. I'm grateful, so grateful for the opportunity to have become a journalist through Oakland Voices. But I see the need for programs like that and podcasts like yours so much more. Every single person that talked to me in regards to, yeah, there it is, that talked to me in regards to this situation, I believe everybody I spoke to was white, for one, and for two, people only were interested in the part of the story that they wanted to share. Now, I know it's hard to tell your story, to tell a story. A journalist has, autonomy to take it whatever direction, but nobody really told the story that shed light on what my plight was. One, I was hired, uh, in the wrong way. They hired me to use me. They hired me to use me as a pawn. They just did not expect that I would fight back. Um, it really hurt me because it takes a lot of courage to speak up and to let someone know when something is going wrong. And I had to go up there with somebody because, as you can see, they're showing Warren being targeted. Rania has talked about being targeted. I had to go up there with people because I didn't feel safe. But when I finally had the courage to go up and speak up about it and go to the public ethics and go through multiple public ethics investigators, at least four, Simon Russell, Garrett Michaels, there's a Treva, that not Treva Reed, but another Treva who is now in the Public Ethics Commission. Nobody has gotten to the bottom of this case. There has been multiple uh, journalists that have reached out to me via email or by call. They've even done interviews with me and not put them out. So I believe in this kind of media where it's either a podcast, a YouTube, someone else, because I feel like the media is paid
Mm.
to push a certain narrative, and they highlight a certain narrative, and it most often doesn't reflect on if you're black, you're dark black like me. You don't get the justice, you don't get the story told that you seek to share. I told each one of those people that majority of the story, not one of them put it out. It was the black media, Zenny, who put out the entire interview. It was you who allowed me to speak. None of those other media sources allowed me to share everything, and when they did record it, they clipped it out. And I'm just like, it really made me not trust people anymore. I already didn't trust my elected officials that I initially did trust, but when I started seeing things unfolding and questioning things, I was getting harassed and pushed into a corner, and I had nowhere to turn. And then when I thought I was going to a media that would share my story, and I went to all of the major ones, all of the ones that you watch on TV, all the ones that you read on the line, online, they did not share my truth. And the truth is, I'm a black woman who really believes in working in this city and being, in the ground, in the mud, working for the people of Oakland, because I'm born and raised here, multiple generations here. My family and friends are still here. My kids go to school here, and nobody heard me out, including the city. The city has not apologized to me. Right now, when you Google my name, it comes up with a corrupt mayor. I don't need that kind of light put on me. I don't.
Mm.
I had to fight for my life, and now I'm better, and I'm here to continue to fight. The city of Oakland owes me an apology, and they owe the rest of the city of apology, because had they investigated that public ethics submission from me back in June of 22, Sheng Thao probably would have never been mayor, would not have had the opportunity to fire a police chief that we loved, would not have been able to do all the other things, miss out on public funding and money to save our city. She didn't care about our city. She cared about her own political gain. And there's too many people in the city. Yes, you're supposed to care about your career, and you're supposed to make strategic moves, but you don't do it by standing on top of people who are invested in this city, other than just their career their career aspirations. I'm going to live here whether I work in the city or not. My roots are here. But there's so many people that come here for some kind of personal gain, and they step on the people who really care. And what I learned is doing the work that was really meaningful to me got me fired. Speaking up got me shunned. It didn't work, and I see why people don't speak up. There were people who used to work for Sheng Thao that found me somehow on social media to just thank me. There were people that called me at night at 10, 11 o'clock at night that were elected officials at the time, and people who
what they would you needed to help? I don't need you to call you at nighttime.
Everybody called me at night, met me on the weekend, met me in a coffee shop. Nobody spoke publicly about
you know why? You had someone full-time, as you mentioned before, harassing you online, which is common tactic. And you know what I find interesting about that?
I just didn't think I was alone.
And I'm light-skinned, so they kind of come out for the light-skinned brothers too. But your point is heard that Black people in the community that they claim they want to support are not only shunned and ignored, but are attacked when they want to point out any hypocrisy whatsoever. And you see how I get treated. I mean, I don't really care. I'm a little bit they got the wrong one with me. I'm a little crazy. But you are why I go crazy. When I witness people being bullied, like I saw you being bullied by these people, and that you are, a mother and a wife, and that you're trying to take care of a family, and that I saw you go from a perfectly healthy person to telling me that these mental stress that you were going through was starting to have an effect on your physical health. And then a year later, I'm watching you fight for your life with cancer. That stuff made me mad, right? And I made you a promise. I told you we was going to get rid of her. I told you, we're going to get rid of that lady. But
no doubt in my mind that stress contributed to my diagnosis. I was literally, and you all have seen the campaign forums where you have a now mayoral candidate who was a former chief of staff who is so easily gaslighting and so easily just explosive. That's what I had to deal with on a day-to-day.
You pick up a good point right there. We have all got to witness Mrs. Webb's antics on the campaign trail.
That's what I had to deal with every day, on top of dealing with Brandon and Sheng Thao. It was the most toxic. I can't even explain to you in words how it felt to survive that. And I'm still surviving it because I still have to see these people that are still fighting for their whatever. But at the end of the day, I was the person who was fired. My name comes up next to this criminal Sheng Thao and this crazy person and this other person who, attacks people. And this could have been stopped, because they did not investigate my complaint. There was a domino effect that happened in this city, and it could have been stopped. And shame on the Public Ethics Commission, and shame on anybody who holds an elected office and didn't force people to do their jobs.
Shame on all of you. Not you. Not you. I meant them. I'm pointing at them.
Shame on them. Like I see why our city is falling apart. I got to be working in City Hall, seeing people not showing up, seeing people that were literally only out for themselves. It's easy to be able to tell when somebody is doing work that matters. And there's a lot of people that need to like they need to clean house in the city hall, because everybody is just going with the flow and going with the program, and it sucks. I've never wanted to leave Oakland, and I hate to say I have thought about leaving Oakland because it just feels like there is no hope. It's
We have
hard to
children.
trust.
We all
And
have too.
it's not just, other people. There are a lot of Black people that have benefited from this crap, and who are
Oh, they shame on them too. The
a lot of
sellout.
Black people.
How many of them Black people standing up telling us Sheng Thao was good? How are you going to be a minister and a pastor and have no discernment like that?
Well,
How are
she
you going to
fooled
lead a
me
flock?
too. I will say this: she fooled me too. She she came off different, and as much as I tried to get to know her, she would run away. And when she wanted me to work on her campaign, I said I could do that, but I need to understand what you stand for. And her words to me were, "You will never get to know me if you don't come work on this campaign, because that's where I will be. You'll never get to know me." And
Wow.
I'm
So
like,
not
I can't
working
just
for the city of
blindly
Oakland.
campaign for you. I'm not going to lead the people in my city to voting for you, and I don't know what you really stand for. I have to really trust you. I have to really know you. And I wasn't willing to work on her campaign without getting to know who she really was. And I see why she didn't want me to. I mean,
we all see now
no,
because she was hiding something. You bring up a good point. She said that's what I'm gonna be doing.
she
COVID.
said, if
The
I don't work
COVID.
on her campaign, I won't get to know her, because that's what she'll be doing. And that is what she did
That is what she
99.9%
did.
of the time.
And also, we just now starting to get workers back to work. So since 2020, 2021, over 3 years, we've had remote work. We got council members running for office, doing half the time they're supposed to be serving the people. You got how many people? We do an audit, got 2 or more jobs that are supposed to be working for the city of Oakland.
Sheng Thao was not even in Oakland half the time when she was supposed to be serving her community. I was the person in her office alone, majority of.
So where was she?
She would be campaigning. She was always campaigning. She was always at Julie's house, or Julie was at her house. They had another staff member who literally, he got hired the same day as me, and he never got to come in and work in the office. He was forced to work at her house.
Didn't they both also have public ethics complaints?
No, they didn't. These are people that she had handpicked. That person, his name was Michael Bansden. He's a very nice guy. I really liked him, but we didn't get to work together because he was forced to work on her campaign at her house while being paid for the city.
I think we need a grand jury. I think we need people under oath acting on what they did.
What is the point of the Public Ethics Commission is what I want to know. Like,
they come after me all the time. It looked like their job is to attack the
How
enemies.
did they have time to come after you when they have a mayor who is leading us into the ground? At the time, it was a city council person. You mean to tell me they investigated you and they didn't investigate the public ethics investigation that was opened by a council staff person who had receipts?
Yes, ma'am. We spent over $100,000 in legal fees for baseless complaints against the recall effort from a public ethics commission that just went away when then Simon Russell ran away. But we're going to get Simon Russell back. We're going to get him. God willing, we will be able to subpoena him and get him in courtroom to ask about why it took 3 years. And so, are there any resolution in sight?
Department needs to be investigated.
Absolutely. Is there any resolution in sight for your claim? Have they contacted you recently?
The person who is now in charge of that issue is Treva Haddon. She is the new public ethics. Well, she's not new anymore. She's been there for over a year at this point. But she said she was getting a new supervisor. I will be speaking to her soon. Soon as next week, I believe. Hopefully there is some resolution. I mean,
are they asking something from you? Are there anything else for you to turn in? Haven't you given them everything?
I printed out multiple pages of messages and document. I've printed so much. They have everything. They even have, they called me a thief. They said I stole an iPad. the iPad that Sheng Thao gave me because she did not want me working on the city computer because of all the things that she had going on that I now know about. But that I turned into Simon. I don't know what happened with it. I don't know if he ever investigated anything. I don't know. I have no news on where this has moved to, other than it's still an open public ethics investigation. It has not
Sheng Thao defund that department? Didn't she cut their budget?
She did. She defunded that department, and I guess that's what Simon could have been speaking to. I mean, in terms of why he left, he did not have enough staff to do the job, but there's still staff there, and I feel like this is one of the most relevant things that should be getting attention. What is the current mayor doing about it? What is the current city council doing about it? Why aren't we making sure that this doesn't happen again while we're going through all these different mayors? Because who's paying for it are the Oaklanders who depend on the city council, who vote on the city council, who vote on the mayor. We're depending on you all to do your job.
I think that's a good place to end it. We are dependent on you all to do your job. Good luck in your next meeting with the Public Ethics Department. What's that?
The city is depending on the city council and the mayor to do their job.
Well, they're on vacation right now, LeAna.
They don't deserve a vacation.
They're on spring break.
They don't deserve that.
I don't get a spring break. You got a spring break? You get a spring break?
My kids on spring break. That's who I keep talking to in the background. Telling them they're on spring break.
Well,
our city needs people to be doing their job and doing it overtime. They need to be holding our elected officials accountable because they don't have to be in those positions. They don't. They don't deserve to be there. They need to hit the road.
I heard her. In the words of Mr. Fab, the government failed. We're living in hell. Save my city.
Yeah.
Because we can't take much more of this.
And
you know what? I have one last question.
You should not have to be a popular person. You should not have to be a business owner to get justice in this city. You should not have to be connected or affiliated with any group that is claiming to support a certain demographic. You should be able to be an individual and still get the same justice.
Absolutely. Do you have any thoughts on this mayor election in 2 weeks for a new mayor?
I feel like we need to clean house. I feel like
who do you think is the best person to clean house?
Who is the next person to clean house? We don't owe any favors to people who have continuously failed us or people who are comfortable in their seats. Now is the time to get it together. We need to take a pause from any decisions and we need to clean house and move forward with serving the most vulnerable people and so on and so forth.
So are you saying that whoever wins needs to do that? Huh? Are you saying that whoever wins needs to do that, or is there somebody that you have in mind that would be best suited for that?
Who's sitting in the seat right now? If you're sitting in the seat right now, it's your job. Do your job.
That's interim Mayor Kevin Jenkins.
That's interim Mayor Kevin Jenkins. That is any person sitting in a city council seat. That is any person sitting on city council aides. Anybody who sees something needs to say something. Do it now. Or
don't wait.
Don't hold a position and let this city fall apart. Oakland is on the map in Washington, D.C. for holding people accountable. We got the wrong people running our city. We got people that are too scared to speak up. We got people who are being paid to sit and be quiet. We got people who, who have special interests and, are just letting things slide. We have people, this person is popular. This person gets to announce who gets this next award or that award. The regular people of the city who are just trying to live and work and who have been here for generations deserve more.
We're over it. We deserve better. Well, hopefully somebody gets elected to mayor who will do that. In my opinion, I see Barbara Lee as the continuation. She didn't even change her slogan from Sheng Thao, but I don't want to cross-pollinate this interview with any election stuff because there may be people who support her who are watching this who want to support you.
I have witnessed Lauren Taylor be the same honest person, even through all the crap that I experienced with Sheng Thao and the stuff that I saw him experience with Sheng Thao and his staff experience. He has been honest and he has been fair throughout the entire time. At this point, I would go for Lauren Taylor because I trust him.
Mm. Well, that's a great way to end the interview. I trust you, LeAna. You've also been brave and steadfast. And thank you for your strength. I'm very happy to see that you're on the mend. So let's get this chapter behind you. And you deserve an apology from the city of Oakland. That would be my next goal. I remember I told you I was going to get rid of Sheng Thao for you. My next goal is to get an apology from the city of Oakland, not just for you, but for all of us who have been harassed by Brandon Harami and harassed by Sheng Thao staffer and these just bad people who have taken over and captured our government and driving our city into the ground.
This is a beautiful
They're not
city.
from it. It is the best city.
And it deserves to flourish under real leadership. It deserves to flourish for everybody who has lived here and fought here and gone to school here and served in any way. I mean, come on now, like where are the humans? We can't run this city like this.
Well, I hope we turn the corner soon. If we do, it will be because the brave neighbors like yourself, or you, I'm not yourself, or yourself, I'm sorry,
People
and
gotta
us,
stand for something.
ourselves who pull it together. Peace, Oakland. I love you. Tune in next time. Talk to y'all soon.
Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.